Just got back from D'Amico Ryan's press conference. It's very clear he has a lot of respect for his opponent on Sunday, the Los Angeles Chargers, rightfully so. One more win than the Texans in a tougher division. 3-point favorite on the road, just one of two teams in the NFL in the wild card round to be a road favorite, along with the Minnesota Vikings. So there's a lot to respect about the Chargers, including Jim Harbaugh. We're going to get to the localized connections in a sec, but let's hear what Jim Harbaugh had to say right after the Chargers took care of business against the Raiders. This is his first thoughts on D'Amico Ryans and the Houston Texans, here live in the locker room, number one source for Texans digital content.
Jim, what, if anything, have you seen from the Texans?
Yeah, really good. Really good. Have started to look, and defensively really good against the run. I mean, a lot of people running the ball on them, and they're playing really well in the back end. CJ Stroud is elite. Nico Collins, elite. I mean, they've got great playmakers, great competitors, and we'll going to take our A game, So we'll get turn all our focus and preparation toward the Texans.
Yeah, and they usually bring their A game. Jim Harbaugh, this is going to be his fifth NFL season. This is his fifth NFL season. It's the fourth time he's been in the playoffs. The previous three, he's been in the conference championship. One of those years, he went to the Super Bowl. So he's unbeaten in his first playoff game as an NFL head coach. D'Amico Ryans, this is only his second time being in the postseason as an NFL head coach. So we'll see how that goes and what that looks like. Localized connection one, though, is you just heard him mention CJ Stroud, the Stroud-Harbaugh connection, Michigan, Ohio State. Harbaugh 2-0 against CJ at Ohio State. Last time they met, CJ Stroud threw 2 of his 6 interceptions on the season against Michigan. What is that going to look like? Are we going to, does it matter? Is there any edge that gives Jim Harbaugh? Is there some sort of mental thing for CJ Stroud where maybe he wants to win a little more? Who knows? But the connection is there. The face of Michigan, and then CJ Stroud. That's localized number one. By the way, last time Jim Harbaugh coached a game at NRG, it was the national championship game between the Michigan Wolverines and Washington. They dominated that game, ended the championship drought, and Jim Harbaugh left Michigan as a national champion. So that's localized thought number one. Localized thought number two, college connection, Kamari Lassiter, cornerback for the Texans, and Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey was asked at the NFL Combine who the best player he ever went against was. He said Kamari Lassiter. Lassiter has a lot of respect for McConkey as well. I don't envision this being a game where Derek Stingley shadows Ladd McConkey. Quentin Johnston kind of up and down, drops a lot of passes. Sometimes he'll look like one of the better receivers in the league. Sometimes he'll look like a guy where you wonder how the hell he's in the NFL. A lot of upside there, though. But I don't think this is a game where you're going to have Stingley shadow McConkey. But who knows? I envision that we do see Lassiter and McConkey lined up against each other. A lot of mutual respect and a strong connection, although it might not be the strongest connection when it comes to rookies because Joe Alt and Blake Fisher. Blake Fisher has described Texans right tackle Blake Fisher. He's described Joe Alt as a brother. They were the bookends for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I know Marcus Freeman, who's getting ready for their college football playoff game this week, has talked about these two guys kind of setting the foundation for his culture in this program. Moving forward, Fisher was originally a left tackle. Alt was so good, they moved him to left and they moved Fisher to right. These two guys going to be making their playoff debuts, and they're going to be facing off as well. So there's another connection there as well, not just Lassiter and McConkey, but Alt and Fisher. Localized number 4. We might owe someone an apology that we talked a lot of smack about, and I won't even say we. I'll say me. I was very hard on this guy. I thought he was a disaster, but quite frankly, the handful of guys that have taken his position since, they've been just as bad, if not worse. Did you know Mike Devlin is the O-line coach for the Chargers, the former Texans offensive line coach for Bill O'Brien. I had a lot of fun with him on the radio, made fun of his coaching style, made fun of everything, made fun of him for being a volunteer assistant at Rice. And I'll be damned, Jim Harbaugh goes to the NFL and he makes Mike Devlin their offensive line coach. And quite frankly, he's done a pretty damn good job. If you look at the job that the Chargers offensive line has done. So Mike Devlin, might have to apologize to you, my friend. It's not much better. The grass hasn't been much greener with the offensive line coaches after you. He's landed on his feet, and you got to think he would like to stick it to the Texans and all the media types like myself who used to give him a hard time. Localized thought number 5 here in the locker room, number 1 source for Texans digital content. Mr. Slater and Mr. Dobbins return home. Rashawn Slater of Sugarland and J.K. Dobbins of LaGrange, both local guys. They're going to be in the spotlight in their hometown, near their hometown. Dobbins' hometown is listed as Houston. They're going to be here. There's a lot of other angles as well. CJ Stroud's kind of a Cali guy. He's going against a Cali team. But those are the main localized angles. Do they matter? Who knows? But we always localize it here in the locker room. SNL with myself and Cody Stutes, which you can subscribe to on all podcast platforms. We're going to get you ready. We're going to dive into some of the stuff that's been said nationally that could perhaps be bulletin board material for the Texans. Subscribe to that on all podcast platforms, as well as the channel here. And subscribe here to the locker room, number 1 source for Texans digital content. And always remember, whether we're localizing it or not, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Happy playoff time, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it.